Hello, guys, and welcome to Odds on Bundesliga Matchday 28. As always, we have Radek Vegas to analyze with us this very interesting Bundesliga. Hello, Radek.
Hey, Eduardo. Nice to be here and happy to analyze the next game day in this ridiculous, awesome Bundesliga season.
Indeed, only 2 points still between Bayern Munich and Borussia Dortmund. Also interested in the fight for the Champions League, for the relegation. So let's start. Before, as always, don't forget, press the like and subscribe. And let's start with the game we have on Friday. It's a key one for the relegation battle between the two worst teams in the Bundesliga, Schalke and Hertha. Now Schalke are bottom of the table after the defeat against Hoffenheim and before against Leverkusen. Hertha, they lost to Leipzig at home after the draw against Freiburg. I'm not surprised to see Schalke favorite because Hertha is the worst away team in the Bundesliga with only 5 points, Radek. But, of course, it's impossible also to trust Schalke with this ridiculously low odds, 2.4.
Yes, and in this game, we have the game between the two worst teams in the league. And one thing you can't expect here, a good game, I think. Schalke didn't win a game for 4 games now. They made some points in their streak, but now the last 2 games they lost with 0 goals and they're back at the last position. And Hertha also has trouble, but their results haven't been that bad in the last times, as they lost only with 1 goal against Leipzig. Not really bad for a team like Hertha, and they got a point at Freiburg. And that as you said, the worst away team, and Freiburg is one of the best home teams, so not really bad results. So I think the value is more on the side of Hertha in this case. But anyway, you can't trust Hertha too much, so we have 2 options: betting on a draw, as we have really 2 bad teams here playing against each other. But considering the results, I would say in comparison with the odds that Hertha is the underdog here, we should risk some spare money on Asian handicap on Hertha, which gives us odds of 1.8. So Asian handicap line is at 0.25. That means if there's a draw, we win the half of our bet, and this is a reasonable thing.
All right, so Hertha Asian handicap minus 0.25, no?
Plus.
Plus.
0.25.
Right, okay. So. Next game, Radek, on Saturday already, we have Bayern Munich, Hoffenheim. This is the sandwich game for Bayern Munich between Man City. They are playing in the Champions League, of course, and they got an important victory against Freiburg. You mentioned how strong Freiburg are at home after the defeat against Freiburg in the Cup, and Hoffenheim, they can breathe now. We were talking about them in the relegation spots, but 3 consecutive victories, and they are 5 points away from relegation now.
Yeah, and you see how close it is that if you win 1 or 2 games in a row, then you're kind of in a safe area, like Hoffenheim now on position 14. The problem in this game is the odds on Bayern are very low with 1.2, so that really doesn't make any sense. But to be honest, anything else as a Bayern home win is not really it's not really possible that Hoffenheim is gonna make a point here, I think. And if we have such low Bayern odds, I always make 2 things. I look at the halftime results. In this case, we get odds of 1.5 on a Bayern win in the first half. Still not really attractive, but as they are playing at home, they have Thomas Tuchel, which is focusing a lot of defense work. If you are into Bayern wins, then it might be a reasonable thing to bet on Bayern wins to 0. That gives you really good odds of 2.2. And if Bayern wins, yeah, they mostly concede goals. But at home, I think the probability is better that they keep their clean sheet. And odds of 2.2 for a Bayern win to 0 sounds really good to me. But on the other hand, the games against Man City are in their head, so they won't be really 100% focused on the games against Hoffenheim, and they might even rest some players, and that can be a chance for Hoffenheim at the end. But still, yeah, good odds for that.
Okay, next game is Cologne, Mainz. Cologne, they will stay 1 year more in the Bundesliga after beating Augsburg. Now they have a good gap with the relegation battle, whereas Mainz, they come as favorites, but the odds are very level for this game. They are keeping their great unbeaten run they drew with Werder Bremen, no defeats in the last 8, and still with options, actually, to play Europe in the next season.
Yes, awesome run of Mainz. Again, they did it some years in a row now. And awesome work of Bo Svensson, their coach. And they should not lose this game as they are really in a great form. And Cologne was not really before the win at Augsburg last game day. So I think, yeah, if the odds are so high on Mainz, it's pure value as they had home odds of 1.7 last game day. Now they have away odds at Cologne of 2.7. So, yeah, we get really attractive odds of Asian handicap 0. Draw no bet means that we get odds of 1.8 till 1.9 or even better. Compared Oddspedia for getting the best odds at the best bookies. So yeah, we have to bet on the streak of Mainz here, as they were unbeatable in the last 8 games.
1.95 actually right now in Oddspedia. Mainz Asian handicap 0, and another team that is getting a better run is Leipzig. We have Leipzig, Augsburg. We were talking about crisis in Leipzig only 1 week ago, Radek, but since then they got the victory against Hertha. Okay, it's a team in the relegation spots, but also they are alive in the cup, so they had a very good week beating Borussia Dortmund in the cup. They have also recovered their Champions League spot in the Bundesliga, and they play Augsburg. They are in a bad run now, 4 winless games for Augsburg, and still in danger, far, but in danger, 6 points away from relegation.
Yeah, and Augsburg is really not a good away team. I think they only had 3 victories away, and I think there's not really an attractive bet here, as Leipzig has really low odds, 1.3. It's no consideration to bet on such low favorite odds. No matter in a tipping game or something like that without money, I would say, sure, Leipzig wins this game. Don't think about it. But the odds are not worth it to risk money. As we know, there have been a lot of surprises in the Bundesliga in this season. But the only thing I can imagine is that Augsburg might score a goal. If you look at their last results, they always found the way to the net. They even scored 3 goals against Bayern Munich. So Augsburg is capable of scoring goals, and they might score at Leipzig, no matter how high they will lose at the end. And I like the odds on both teams to score with 1.9 around, or even 2.0. I think this has the best risk reward ratio, as win of Leipzig is not really worth it.
Another of the teams in the Champions League spots, Borussia Dortmund, only 2 points away from Bayern Munich because they were able to beat Union Berlin with that goal scored by Moukoko. Important because away Remember that they lost against Bayern, and they are also out of the cup against Leipzig. So they are playing again away in Stuttgart, a team that is in the playoff spots to go to the Bundesliga too. And they got a key victory, Radek, in the last match day against Bochum away.
Yeah, seems like they had a trainer effect. I didn't believe it that it's possible that a change from Bruno Labbadia to Sebastian Hoeneß might improve something at Stuttgart. But indeed, they scored 3 goals at Bochum, which was out of the blue. Yeah, how could we expect Stuttgart scoring 3 goals after terrible weeks in the Bundesliga? Or even months. And on the other hand, that's a good situation now, as the odds on Dortmund are really high, and I really don't understand these high odds on Dortmund, as they should win against Stuttgart in this situation in almost 80% of the games, and the odds are 2.0 on a Dortmund win. So I think we don't have to talk a lot about it and just bet on it. On the other hand, we even can improve the odds, and I would do that because it's too tempting that you get really high odds on Asian handicap -1 on Dortmund here with odds of 2.7. As Dortmund is not in the cup and not in the Champions League anymore, but they have the chance to keep the distance to Bayern Munich as close as possible, even if they lost against them. So they have still reasonable motivation for beating other teams. And they made a huge point against Union Berlin, which was number 3 and was also in the championship race, but not anymore after the defeat against Dortmund. So yeah, Asian handicap -1 on Dortmund with odds of 2.7 is even more attractive for me.
Let's see if they can keep the battle with Bayern Munich until the end of the Bundesliga. Imagine if these odds are good, Borussia Dortmund to win in Stuttgart, that in the next game, rather, we have Eintracht Gladbach, and the odds for Eintracht to win is only 1.8. I cannot understand, because it's a team that they are not winning at all. Since they are out of Europe, they are not recovering. Also in the Bundesliga, 6 winless games. Now they are out of the European zone. Even they at home, they drew against Bochum or Stuttgart recently. So their only good point right now is in the cup for Frankfurt. And we know that Gladbach is dangerous. They are not having a good season, but they can beat any team in the Bundesliga.
But not if they're playing away. If you look at the away games, they only had 1 victory playing away in this year, and even in this season, only 1 away win, and this was at Hoffenheim, when Hoffenheim was last in the standings. So really problems playing away this Gladbach. That's the only reason that the other not really great team at the moment with Frankfurt is maybe the favorite in the odds, but not on the paper. I think the same as you said, that Gladbach is too dangerous to bet against them, and odds on Frankfurt, you can't bet on a team which has not proved to win games for about 2 months now. At home, it's maybe a different thing, but yeah, the odds on a draw are really attractive. Same situation, we can bet on a draw, which gives us odds of 4.15, or maybe have a look at the Asian handicaps and go for a double chance on Gladbach, which has 2.1. I like both equally. If you want to have a higher probability of winning the bet, I think it's the best to bet on double chance for sure, because you have 66% of all outcomes covered. But as you might know, I go mostly for the biggest odds, and in this case, the draw has 4.1 or even better. And I think, this is the best bet in the long run to go for the draw here.
All right, so 3 more games we have on Sunday. Werder Bremen, Freiburg, with Bremen in a bad situation right now, only 2 points in the last 5 games. They drew with Mainz in the last game day, and Freiburg, as we mentioned them a lot in this show, because they played twice against Bayern, one beating them away in the cup, another one with a defeat in the Bundesliga. They are bad in a bad run right now in the Bundesliga. Radek, only 1 victory in the last 6 games.
Yeah, but if you have the away rule like you have in the European Cup games before the year we're playing now, Freiburg would have advanced to the next round against Bayern Munich, as they scored 2 goals away against Bayern Munich in the cup game, and they only lost with 1 goal at home against Bayern Munich. That's not bad at all. This is, I think, a sign that Freiburg is very hard to beat, and for a team like Bremen, who is also in a bad run, we get really good odds here. If we think that Freiburg is not losing this game, we can bet on draw no bet, Asian handicap 0, and we get odds of 1.8 for Freiburg. And I think this is a really, really good bet, as they should not lose at Bremen after all we've seen of them. But on the other hand, Bundesliga is completely random, rolling the dice. So if Bremen wins, also not a surprise. But we have to consider on good odds and on runs and on facts we know. And we know that Freiburg should be the better team and they should not lose. So 1.8 is great.
Especially the home factor is very important in the Bundesliga. Imagine that Dortmund is the second best team playing away, and they lost 6 games this season. Or Bayern Munich, for instance, they lost already 3 games playing away. It's very difficult to win away in the Bundesliga with a lot of supporters, of course, going to the stadiums and creating a good atmosphere. For instance, we are seeing it with Union Berlin, a very strong side at home, no defeats yet in the Bundesliga, 9 victories and 4 draws. Of course, the odds are very low, or perhaps actually not that low, 1.65 to beat Bochum at home. And I guess Union Berlin, they should bounce back, Radek, because they had a very bad week, losing against Dortmund, and they are also out of the cup against Frankfurt.
But I really think that the loss against Dortmund was not bad. It was just bad luck. And the loss in the cup game against Frankfurt also, playing away is not their strength. They're really good at home, so they should win against Bochum. I don't see any trouble at Union Berlin, as they won their last 2 home games in the league with 0 considering conceded goals, and they also scored 2 or 3 goals against Stuttgart and Frankfurt at home in the Bundesliga. So I think betting on Union Berlin win is one thing you can do with 1.6. Is still odds which are okay in a situation like that. But as we have the same situation kind of between Bayern Munich and Hoffenheim, that we have one really strong home team which concedes not much goals at home. It's worth to look at winning 2-0 here against Bochum. We get odds of 2.5, and I think we can do that that Union Berlin wins this game without conceding a goal.
Okay, and the last game is Wolfsburg-Leverkusen. Leverkusen also playing in Europe, remember, in the Europa League against Union Saint-Gilloise, and they are in European spots in the Bundesliga. These are great news for Leverkusen. I think that was in the bottom part of the standings after Xabi Alonso arrived. Another victory. They are in an amazing run, 7 consecutive victories in all competitions, and They have another test against Wolfsburg, a team that lost against Gladbach. They were unbeaten in the previous 5 games until they went to play Gladbach.
Wolfsburg is one of the best away teams. This is also the ridiculous thing you mentioned before, that Wolfsburg is the 3rd best away team, losing 5 games away. And now they're playing at home, and they collected more points away than at home. And so it might not be a real advantage for Wolfsburg playing at home, while for the most other teams it is. And Leverkusen on a great run, good odds of 2.5. I think we should maybe trust them. 𝐬𝐭𝐴𝐺𝐻 on Leverkusen has odds of 1.8. And this is for sure an option to bet on Leverkusen continuing their good run and not losing at Wolfsburg. Completely good odds and a good bet here. The other thing also here is betting on a draw, as Wolfsburg is still a good team. As you mentioned, they had a good run, and they might be hard to defeat at home, even if they're not the best home team. Still a good team, and that's why I really don't trust Leverkusen too much, and I think it's more likely that we see a draw here. The odds on a draw are 3.6, but anyway, the value is on Leverkusen side with 𝐬𝐴𝐺𝐻 on Leverkusen. The other option, 1.8, is also great odds.
Okay, you can try both. Actually, Wolfsburg, they've drawn a lot of games at home. 4 victories, 6 draws, and only 3 defeats. So the stats also tell us that this game can end up in a draw. And remember also that Leverkusen, of course, they are fully focused in the Europa League. They have a big chance of playing the semifinals of the competition against Feyenoord or Roma, because they had the weakest team in the draw, Union Saint-Gilloise. Then, Radek, tell me the best bet for you in this Bundesliga match day.
Yeah, as Dortmund has really high odds at Stuttgart, and I think they must win this game, and they for sure should not lose this game at all. We get odds of 1.5 for Dortmund, Asian handicap 0. So we almost cover every outcome, as the win of Stuttgart is very unrealistic from the point we are talking now. And that's why for me this is the best bet in this game day, and one of the best bets ever. I think that Dortmund is not losing against Stuttgart, and you get odds of 1.5 for that.
And is it in your ACCA?
Yes, but not in this situation. I go for more risk in my ACCA, as you might know. I would say Dortmund -1 is still really good for an ACCA. We get odds of 2.7 for that. I would combine it with 2 other Asian handicap 0s, that Mainz and Freiburg are not losing, that Mainz is not losing at Cologne, and that Freiburg is not losing at Bremen. I think 3 really realistic results. At the end, we get odds of around 9.2 for a ACCA with 3 realistic results. Who wants more? I really like it.
Let's hope. Then for the best, thank you, Radek. Thanks everyone for watching. Remember to keep enjoying the Bundesliga. Press the like, subscribe, so you know when we release new videos in the Bundesliga. Good luck.
Thanks, you too.